Guys, the food situation in the UK is worse than I thought. Apparently, we've already run out of food for this year, and we run out on the 14th of August. Now, guys, I'm going to play a little video with you guys in a second. I've not done this before. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but just bear with it, and then we're going to explore an article. Before we get on to that, guys, what I want to do is I want to say things I keep harping on about on this channel, about the vulnerabilities to our food supply. I mean our domestic food supply now. Look how vulnerable our farmers are. Look how vulnerable our farms are. Look how vulnerable our supply chain is. We've seen this mass cyanide leak into the water system. We're going to see more of these things happen in the future. Now, our food supply, it's already fragile, and it's already, and you know, like I've just said, and I'll come on to it in a minute, like I said, you know, we've already run out of food. We are not a food sufficient country. Now, let's double the, let's double the sabotage and the food security in the context of, you know, people can go and attack our food supply. Let's have that as one aspect. And then let's have the other aspect of, you know, we don't grow enough food in this country. And not only that, it seems like there's a war on farmers in the context that it's now more profitable for farmers to grow flowers in their fields rather than food. And I'm just like, how is this even a thing? How are our farmers stopping growing crops and growing flowers in this rewilding process, or, you know, whatever they call it? It really does seem like there's a war on food and a war on farmers. And I've said this for such a long time. You know, I say this to school teachers. I say, why don't you teach at school how to grow your own vegetables? You know, if you go to places like in Eastern Ukraine, for example, is a good example. You know, almost every Ukrainian, you know, obviously not every Ukrainian, but most Ukrainians will have a dacha, which will be like a summer house, and they'll grow their own vegetables. You know, they have that knowledge, they have that understanding. Even on the streets, you know, on the streets in cities, there's apple trees, grapevines. You know, there's food readily available. Rather than growing flowers, why don't we grow food? I think we should all grow food. And, you know, and I'm guilty of it myself. I don't grow enough food. Our tomatoes this year have been an absolute failure. I don't know whether that's because of the sun, because of the wetness in the weather. You know, I genuinely don't know. If I'd have been taught at school, I wouldn't have to be finding out these things for myself now. But guys, I'm going to share this video with you now, and I'll share the link to the website on the in the description. Where are we? So let's see how this goes. Right, guys. UK self-sufficiency must be upheld amid global instability, NFU says. So the UK was 62% self-sufficient in food. Now, when I'm going to play you this video, guys, and then I'm going to stop it and I'm going to give you a little comment. Guys, okay, this music, why have they got this music? They're telling us we've run out of food, and listen to the music. It's kind of like, you know, one of those chick flicks right at the end where, like, there's two people, they're in love, they've had an argument, and the other person has to catch the other person at an airport, and they're running to get them, and they're getting a taxi, and they're saying, hey, don't worry, it's like, I'm in love, and I've got to run to get my taxi. That's what this music sounds like to me. This music shouldn't be accompanying something that's telling us we've run out of food. But anyway, let's just go through it, guys. So this article was released on the 14th of August, which was the self-sufficiency day. So like it says there, if we'd have only relied on food and, you know, products that we'd grown in this country, we would have run out by the 14th of August. Why is it important? Because I like to eat. It's all I've been doing lately. It kind of keeps me alive. Yeah, so extreme weather, you know, and complex geopolitical issues are put. Yeah, so in the UK, like this year, we have had a really wet season. Now, that's going to affect obviously that has affected the planting of food this year. So next year, we're going to run out of food a lot earlier than the 14th of August, and we're obviously relying on imports. So, you know, people understand this, and people are trying to get the government to act. But to me, it doesn't seem like the government are taking this seriously. It seems to me like the government are just saying, oh, we'll just import more food. Oh, we'll just get it from somewhere else. Guys, that's not going to happen, because you know what? When those other countries are low on food, they're going to stop exports. We've seen this with India. We've seen it with China. We've seen this with big production countries. They stop exporting when their stocks are low. You see, we must not let Britain's food production slip below its current level. You see, from what we already understand by the weather in this country, that's an inevitability. We're gonna drop below again next year. Yeah, and that's now, like most things, guys. I'll put the link in the description. But like most things, the important stuff's at the bottom. So we've got, the government asks. So on self-sufficiency day, we're highlighting multiple ways the government can help ensure self-sufficiency doesn't drop in the future. So they've got a list of 8 things. Now, the most important for me are at the bottom. Number 7, farming recognised in planning system. So update the national planning policy framework to include weighted arguments in favour of food production, with benefits of farming clearly recognised by a planning system, or support the food production across England. So what they're saying here is, guys, I think they're looking at the government to try and do something about these policies, whereby farmers find it more profitable to not plant food, like I said there, in favour of food production. Guys, it's absolutely wild that farmers are making more money not farming. And supporting horticultural growth. Supporting growth in UK's horticulture sector, outlined by the horticulture strategy. Developing policies around access to labour, crop protection, there we are, guys, water, planning, and affordable, sustainable energy supply. So that's the thing there, guys, okay, crop protection. Now, they must be putting that in there because they're worried about their crop security. Let me just go back on here. Yeah, so, these guys must be worried about crop security. And while this thing, the food supply and farming, it doesn't have the same, it doesn't ring the same bells as nuclear war and war in the Middle East. But the reality is, if you live on an island like we do, we kind of need to grow to be more self-sufficient than, I think, what was it, 62%? So we should all have a bigger emphasis on our food security. And the main things that, the NFU are highlighting, well, the main things that I think are the most important are this emphasis on making, the emphasis with when you're doing your planning on food production. So rather than farmers saying, oh, go and grow some daffodils and we'll give you more money than if you grew, I don't know, potatoes. And also looking at the issues around crop protection. Now, this can be a multifaceted approach, and the crop protection doesn't always mean crop protection from criminal gangs, which is a thing. I think what we can also look in that is, how to protect crops and how to protect, fields. And this will no doubt involve a lot of money, a lot of, investment. But, the reality is we would have run out of food already in the United Kingdom if it wasn't relying on imports. And all we have to do is look around the world. When countries understand these conflicts are coming, they're going to stop exporting. So what are we going to do in the United Kingdom? We would have already, what are we on today? What are we on? Was it 17th? So we're like 14, 15, 16, 17. So we'd have run out of food 3 days ago. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean the shelves would be dry and everything, because there will be there will be some sort of supply. But what you can see is we're not in the best position security-wise with our food supply. And that can double up with your water supply as well, because I think those things go hand in hand. But anyway, guys, not to give you doom and gloom all the time, but that is the reality of the situation. I'll put the link in the description to this video. It's a really good article. It goes through quite a lot of stuff in there. guys, what is that music all about? It really does sound like the end of a chick flick, doesn't it? You know, I would have had some, like, at least a bit of synthwave on there. But anyway, guys, I'm going to mag to grid. I'm going to go and get some bits from the supermarket, see how much the prices have gone up. I might do a little bit of shopping with some garden furniture and all that sort of stuff, because I know the prices get reduced this time of year. But anyway, guys, I'm going to see you guys later. I'll mag to grid now.